long off. I think that's semi-core at long on. So Doyle very much on top. Steele did well. Good one-handed pick-up at point. Excellent work from Grace Collins. Another member of that Sunshine Coast side that won the Catherine Raymond Shield 50 over comp back in March. It was a very young side and the vast majority of them are here at this tournament. Doyle on top. Strange flicks to leg. It'll go out towards square leg. Just the single. And the Rockets at least turning the strike over. Doyle very steady. Went for a foolish delivery, just missed the Yorker. And it was well kept out by Steele. A wicket taking over for Trinity Doyle. She's doing a wonderful job for her captain. And the Rockets find themselves nearly at the halfway point of the innings and in a fair bit of trouble at 2 for 32. This run rate, they're only on track for about 70 or so. For those of you... Oh, hang on. Okay. The scorers of the previous game have finally closed the match. And I'm told what happens, now don't do it till the end of the over, but I'm told what happens is if you guys do a save and exit, and then go back in, that'll shut up. You know what you're doing with that? I'll shut up. Yeah. And I've got the YouTube on, so I'll confirm that it's worked. Oh, you've done it? Yeah. Sorry, I hadn't checked it. Sorry. It hasn't worked yet. Do both of you need to do it, or is it just one? Or? So So you're offline? Sure. Okay, it hasn't come up yet, so I'm going to keep refreshing and trying. Oh, here we go. Audio test. And welcome back to the Mazda Brisbane Premier League. We will update the score for you as we're changing videos. The single, Trinity Doyle is bowling an excellent spell from the clubhouse end. Unfortunately, I think while we were offline, the wicket of Samantha Smithers did fall. Trinity Doyle taking the wicket, it was bowled. We may have footage of it for you though, just bear with me and I'll find details. Excellent bowling from Doyle. So we now have a scoreboard at the bottom of the screen, but yes, unfortunately, we did miss a wicket, which is not what we wanted. And when I say we, I'm talking about the coverage. I don't mind if you're a Waveriders fan or a Rockets fan, really. Two wides added to the total, and that's unusual for Doyle today, but there was a massive gust of wind to pick up at that moment. Beautiful straight drive. It probably will just be a single. It's actually quite well fielded by Sebi Kaur down at the long on. So Doyle's figures remain pretty much unharmed. It's been an excellent spell of sustained left arm pace bowling from the clubhouse end, as coach Melissa Lewis watches on approvingly. Shorter delivery down leg side. Probably just went for a change of length there, Doyle, and or maybe just got stuck in the hand. Julia Kavanagh, the captain at cover. So Ruby Strange, the captain, in shirt number 4, and Olivia Steele at the non-strikers end in number 3. Trinity Doyle bowling in the number 8 shirt. A very fluid run-up. Again down the leg side. So just in this her final over, just straying down leg side a little, but up until now it's been an excellent spell. One for 15 halfway through her final over. Full delivery, that's back to her usual modus operandi. Good comeback from Doyle. If you go to the Brisbane Premier League website, which is just brisbanepremierleague.com, or on the Brisbane Premier League app, and then click on the videos tab, you will often find just video clips of the wickets and boundaries. I think it's done automatically, I'm not sure what the scorers have much to do with that. A full toss, nearly caught. The ball did not hit the ground until it bounced either just in front of or just out of the hands of Julia Kavanagh. A full toss from Doyle, flat batted to cover, and Kavanagh roos what may have been, and possibly makes sure that her body's still functional. Hit on the pad, looked to be down leg. The umpire's not interested. And so, a superb spell of bowling, 4 overs straight from Trinity Doyle at this, the clubhouse end, comes to an end. It's the kind of spell where you wish there was a crowd here so that as she goes to the boundary they could give her a hero's reception, because that was excellent fast bowling. So at the end of 10 overs, 11 overs, the total is just 2 for 50. And I think that says more about the quality of the Waveriders bowling than it does about the Rockets batting. I think they've done about as well as they can do. Steele and Strange have done nothing stupid. Not many opportunities to take risks, as the changes in the field are run. Ava Salvestrin going out to square leg. Haruni Lianarakchi Don at backward square, probably let's call it deep backward square. It's a good start from Emma Taylor at the far end, as the bowling changes are run by Kavanagh. Emma Taylor, the slowest of the paces we've seen so far, but quite controlled. Lofted over the head of cover. That was a calculated risk, and it's come off with a boundary. Excellent opportunism from the bat of Olivia Steele. It's important to know when to take risks. And that sound you heard was me preventing a plastic bag from ending up on the footage.
How many going?
Oh, that popped. Taylor put that one on a good length, and there have been some balls that have landed there and shot through, and that one popped up, hit very high on the bat of Steele. Good length ball from Taylor. Seeds the run to cover, does her own fielding. Probably one thing a lot of football bowlers can do when they don't have that short cover in, make sure you follow through and do your own fielding. And Emma Taylor, aka Elmo apparently, did well. Lofted. Looks to be safe, it falls short of the fielder in the deep, and just a single to Ruby Strange. Cross bat, it's into the deep. Again, just the single out to the boundary rider. There's 3 of them on the leg side and 1 of them straight. So they're clearly protecting the farm. 2 for 57 off 12. As the Rockets made a move that over, as they head towards at least 5 runs and over, they'll want 6. But at least getting it towards 5 is a good start. More bowling changes as Taylor Hamblin will take up the attack from the clubhouse end. The 6th bowler used by the Waveriders today. Well, in this match rather. Probably used a few more in the previous game. Hamblin's shown her value in the field. Wrigley, not sure if she's officially the vice captain of the Waveriders, but she's certainly got leadership ability. Making sure the field is set well for her spinner. Lofted down the ground. It's gone near core. It's gone in between the 2 fielders for a boundary. So some more risks being taken, particularly by Olivia Steele, But if you hit them that cleanly, you reduce the risk greatly. Excellent batting. So Hamblin, not a bad first delivery, and at least made sure that Steele needed to be aggressive to profit. The fielding change, they've swapped Kaur and Kavanagh, and that popped on the pitch as well. I think there'll be a lot of batters looking forward to leaving Astley and heading out to Wellington Point. Hamblin, swing and a miss. The back foot was anchored, but Wrigley showed there how little time she needs to take the bails off. Very sharp work. Hamblin hitting her length until she doesn't. Just turn around the corner for a single. Slight fumble at fine leg, but of no real consequence. As a poodle keeps the Rockets entertained off the field. And a deep cover goes back. And is immediately employed and concedes a second run. Emma Taylor was put on the boundary as cover, possibly to allow Hamblin the luxury of keeping it outside off stump with protection. But on that occasion, you could argue it conceded a run. Hamblin drops short, it's chipped. That was a sliced forehand to cover, where Kaur does the fielding. Generally a good first over from Hamblin. He just dropped short a couple of times, as the total reaches 2 for 64 at the end of the 13th. The Rockets' first aim will be to get to 100 here. The big advantage they have is having plenty of wickets in the shed. So if they want to attack, which admittedly is difficult against the likes of Metham and Kavanagh, and to be honest, not all that easy against Emma Taylor either. Shorter delivery and played out to the mid-wicket boundary where it's fielded comfortably for just one. Chance of overthrows as the throw landed at the feet of Taylor. Which is a bit rough because Elmo's fingers didn't exactly say tickle me. Full delivery, well kept out by Strange. That ball spun as it hit the turf. And just wrong-footed Kavanagh at cover. Another easy single. So the Rockets at least turning the strike over. The boundaries come occasionally, but plenty of singles. Oh, full toss. Somehow Wrigley's caught that. She wasn't even looking, which it's been a superb keeping performance from Wrigley so far. And that, I believe, was called no ball. And so there will be a free hit this delivery. A rare wild delivery from Taylor. She's been quite controlled. Steele with the free hit. And she's gone for it. It's gone over the head of mid-wicket. They'll get 2 for it. Landed in between the two fielders in the deep. One at deep square leg, one at deep mid-wicket. Didn't quite have enough juice on it to get to the boundary. So Olivia Steele propelling this innings forward. She's on 28. Steele lofts one. It's into the deep. This could well be caught. Two fielders converge, and I think in the end, one balks the other. That's unfortunate because I think the fielder coming to her left is now wringing her hands that came off her fingers. I think she had it covered, but the straight hit fielder, or the deep long on fielder, didn't give her the space. That's unfortunate. Another full toss, just below the waist. It's been belted down to the fielder who just dropped the catch, who was Bridget Peden in the outfield, who has an excellent throwing arm. We've seen it in action for Ipswich, and a very good fielder. I think she was just balked by her teammate coming across on the previous delivery. So Taylor looking to get it on the pitch, which she does, but far too low. Again, good keeping from Wrigley as it went past the outside edge of Steele. So an indifferent over from Taylor on that occasion, not as controlled as her previous. We're 2 for 71. So there is an acceleration to the Rockets batting. Yes, I just talked about Rockets accelerating. We'll ignore that and move on. As the squeaking of the marquee continues. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. I get to stand here and talk about them at the Brisbane Premier League Under-19 women's competition. There will be no complaints, and any that are made won't be listened to. Taylor Hamblin to continue with her off-spin from the clubhouse end. The live chat is available if I've mispronounced the name or if the camera changes direction. More than welcome to have a chat, or even just to send a cheerio to a player. Make sure they get on the coverage. Hamblin with a good length delivery. It was waited upon by Strange. Played into the outfield. They thought about a second, but the throw was good enough. Hamblin bowled. The ball held up. Was much slower. She held it back very nicely, did Taylor Hamblin. And the shot was well and truly over before the ball arrived. Clever bowling from Taylor Hamblin. That's the third wicket down. The new batter will be Darcy Johnson, who overnight was the leading wicket taker in the Brisbane Premier League, with 6 wickets yesterday. I'm told she took 2 wickets earlier today, moving her to 8. So if she's not the leading wicket taker at the moment, someone's had a very good day. So Steele departs. And her aggression eventually proved her undoing, but it also did a lot of good for the Rockets total. And to be honest, at this stage of the innings, a bit of ambition is absolutely required. So Darcy Johnson. From Sandgate Redcliffe. And the trademark white skins beneath the blue shirt. Wider, good footwork. Pushes it into the offside. Where Emma Taylor was not required to field because Grace Collins did the work for her. The wind continues unabated. Marchant Park number 10. Shorter delivery, well pulled. Strange into the outfield. Slight fumble from Kavanagh, but no extra run results. I did answer Justine Harriott a while ago asking if we were running late. Unfortunately, yes we were, and we don't have a note from Mum. Lofted, came off the top edge, and it's gone through to the boundary. Somehow that was a top edge straight drive attempted with a pull shot, with 2.5 somersault in the pike position. 4 down the ground. Credited to the total of Darcy Johnson. Hamblin. Well turned by Johnson, didn't try to repeat the shot, treated the ball on its merits. Some good backing up by Collins means there won't be an overthrow. So Johnson with 5 off the last 2 deliveries.
Hello.
As the Rockets lost a wicket in that over, but the pace of the innings has gone well. They're up to 79. 100 will be the first target. And before the last match, I would have said that 120 was a winning total, but when you have a tie where both teams score 147, it's quite extraordinary. And that match, of course, was part of the 7-match Battle of the West between the Darling Dingoes and the Western Power. 7 different divisions in the Brisbane Premier League, and so they had a little internal battle as to who would win the most matches of those 7 with a tie. I haven't checked the other junior results, but it's possible it ended 3-3. A wide delivery. Johnson went reaching for it. As Ella Taylor just looks to regain that early control. So the wind seems to have turned. It's been right to left most of the day. Seems to be heading in the other direction. That ball popped on. It actually was very well played in the end by Johnson, who's turned it down to Liana Rachidon at backward square leg. Just a single. But yes, if you look through the information on the BrisbanePremierLeague.com website or the BPL app and have a look at the scores across the 7 comps for the Dingoes versus the Power. That's lovely control from Ruby Strange. A wild throw, and there will be an overthrow. Was backed up well enough by Collins, but Kavanagh unleashed with that throw. If you're going to do that, you can't land it at the bowler's feet. So an extra run returns Strange to strike. Good length delivery. Strange didn't read it, and Wrigley made a rare fumble. But excellent bowling from Emma Taylor. Lofted into the offside, takes a few turns on impact with the ground. Good intent from Johnson to look for the second, but just the one to deep cover. Not bowled, but slickly taken, and again this uneven bounce just skids through. And Belinda McDougall, Waveriders manager, says, "Hi, mummy." Lofted, it's going to land in between the 2 fielders. They end up being, and it's a horrible turn on the ground. Has fooled Liana Rachidon. And that ends up being 4 runs to Darcy Johnson. Yes, hello to Belinda McDougall, who played many seasons at the Gold Coast Dolphins. Saw her play in a 50-over final at Allan Border Field when, sadly for Gold Coast, Beth Mooney had a day out. Apologies for Belinda for reminding you of that day, but sadly for the Dolphins, when it comes to losing one-day finals, not an isolated incident. You will break through, Dolphins. End of the over. With that boundary, it's 3 for 88 with 4 overs remaining. Another ball that just popped up off the surface. Well played by Strange, just making sure that the catch was taken out of the equation. But Hamblin continued to bowl with good control. Lofted, it should fall safely, but well fielded on the boundary. As Kavanagh fired it into the bowler's end, trickled through to Wrigley. Lofted into the leg side. There's an opportunity here. It is put down. A backward square leg. It wasn't quite middled by Strange. She rehearses the shot now and has the bat at a worse angle as when she played it. But unfortunately for the Waveriders, put down in the deep. I think Sebi Kaur. Advancing, that's good aggressive batting, but it will be fielded on the boundary by Kavanagh and kept to a single. But the Rockets continuing to attack, as they should. And that has been called a no ball. The moon ball from Hamlin, not making it back to earth in time. That is good defence. Well fielded here on the boundary by Meg Metten. And again, the free hit is defended expertly. Hamlin generally bowling well. And created an opportunity there. Wrigley's been excellent behind the stumps. Good bowling from Hamlin. She finishes with, well, not finishes, but she has 1 for 21 at the end of 3 overs. So one up her sleeve. But at some point, Metten will probably probably come back on. Kavanagh may bring herself back on. And the power surge has been called. To be fair, there weren't many opportunities left to use it. If it hadn't been taken this over, it would have been forced upon them. So the changes are run. Trinity Doyle returning to the field. She's bowled out. It's still an asset in the field as Taylor Hamlin takes a break, which suggests that her bowling spell is over. With 3 overs to go, you would think that Metten will take at least one. I think she has 2 left. 1 left. So 1 left for Metten, 1 left for Kavanagh, I think. She really has picked up her pace, Meg Metten, in the last 12 months. Still only 18. Not sure if it's a result of growth or gym work or just hard work in the nets, but her pace has noticeably improved. Good length, a little full. Wasn't picked up. The wind may take this over the boundary. That's an excellent shot from Ruby Strange. It wasn't that full, but her footwork turned it into a full toss and flicked through square leg for a boundary. So Metten bowling her last over now. There'll only be 2 overs left after this, so Kavanagh will only be able to bowl one of those 2. There are bowling options galore in this Waveriders outfit. Popped into the air, it will fall safely to bring up the Rockets 100. And they will get 2. The field was right back on the boundary. Good fielding. But the 100 is up for the Rockets, and that did not always look a sure thing throughout this innings, but they've given themselves something they can defend now. It will take a big effort from the bowlers, but they've got Ruby Orchard, they've got Lily Bassingthwaite. Beautiful drive. Just a single on this occasion, couldn't beat the field. Johnson herself has taken wickets galore through this tournament. Amy Hunter's been quick. And the free hit. Defended well, good shot though from Johnson. Fielded at cover. Possibility of an overthrow, but it will be cleaned up by Ava Salvestrin. So Metten being counter-attacked. She'll keep attacking the stumps. Full top edge. Wrigley underneath it. And it swung away from her. The wind took that one. Wrigley will be filthy with herself, but she probably shouldn't be because that swirled. The wind's playing havoc anyway. There was plenty of spin off it from Stranger's bat. And they end up getting one for it. Madam tried hard. Wrigley has clearly perfected the art of trying to stop the umpire from calling a wide by appealing. But quite rightly called a wide as Metten reacted to the drop catch in the usual fast bowler's way of bowling a bouncer. Full delivery. Wrigley open to any opportunity. She'll get a wicket any way she can. I suspect the drop catch is still in her head. She can get rid of that straight away. Just concentrate on the next over. So 3 for 105 with 2 overs remaining. The Waveriders with some decisions to make. As Kavanagh will re-enter the attack. So she'll bowl the final over of this innings from the clubhouse end. The scorer tries to correct this mistake I didn't make. Now, attention on the field. Julia Kavanagh has bowled the final over from the clubhouse end, and then she'll need to sort out what she wants from the Ellison Road end. But Strange and Johnson have been here for a while. It's been an excellent partnership. Their eyes are in. Notable when Steele got out, she positively jogged off the field, knowing that the job would continue. Wide outside off stump. And she did seem to have a very low shoulder in that delivery, Kavanagh. She was a little bit higher in her bowling action in her first spell, so she can just get her form back rather than just going for the sling straight away. She'll probably be alright. Good full delivery and just swatted to long on for a single. Kavanagh pushing long on back, bringing cover into the circle. Second over the power surge. That was on line, and the misfield allows at least one. No, it has been cleaned up. There was a thought of a second. And overall, the Waveriders' ground fielding's been good, but just a couple of errors. Kavanagh keeping it full and straight, which is classic death over bowling. 20 overs, 50 overs, doesn't really matter. Long on pulled up, so long off is back, as is deep cover. The long on comes into comes into play straight away. So Kavanagh knows where she's bowling. She set the field accordingly. As the call of Elmo goes up to bring Emma Taylor back into the circle. So she has plans for each batter, Kavanagh. This is intelligent captaincy, intelligent bowling. And that's good umpiring because, yeah, complaining about the wide is Johnson, but she shouldn't be. If she moves across to the offside, and the ball goes behind her, but it would have hit her if she'd stayed still. That's not a wide. You can't play for the wide by stepping across to off. big hit. I think Kavanagh got inside her mind there. It looked like Johnson was still frustrated with not getting the wide call for the previous delivery. Just lifted the head on that one. An intelligent over from Kavanagh. Very controlled, very full. That one was slightly shorter, slightly slower, and she fooled Johnson. So an excellent power surge over from Julia Kavanagh, the Waveriders captain. She can be proud of that one. With 1 over remaining, 3 for 109. So she's allowed to put fielders back for the final over. It might be Emma Taylor who's rolled the last. It will be. Emma Taylor with responsibility. There's a square leg inside the circle, but there's a deep backward square leg. There's a deep mid wicket, long on, long off, and a deep cover. Good length bowling. Unfortunately, you can't set the field for the French cut. That's gone for a boundary, and that's desperately unlucky for the Waveriders, but the Rockets will take it. And again, you tend to only benefit from those French cuts when you swing hard at it. And Strange has been very aggressive for a while. Came in at number 3. She's now into the 40s. Plays forward. It was lofted, but it was well to the left of Taylor. And gets one down to the long off boundary. Unlikely to complete her 50, Strange, but considering where the Waveriders were early in this, where the Rockets were early in this innings, she's played an absolutely superb captain's role. Big swing from Johnson. Out to the boundary rider. As I say, there's 3 of them on the leg side. So that's good bowling to the field from Taylor. Johnson won't stop attacking, and she seems to have settled her head after last over as well. Strange was wanting to get underneath that. Got a bit of a bottom edge, and we'll just get the single. Putting pressure on the field, though, by looking for the second. That's excellent last over work. Equally good fielding in the deep. I think Grace Collins, not sure about that. 2 balls remaining. And again, Johnson can't get underneath it, so Taylor ensuring that the Rockets only deal in singles. But the intent from the Rockets has been good. 117 with 1 ball remaining, only 3 down. And sometimes you look at that and think, well, why didn't they throw the bat a bit more? But I think the Rockets have done everything they can with some very disciplined Waveriders bowling. And unfortunately for Taylor, bowls are wide, which extends the end of the innings, so up to 118. And then, and that's twice this over that Strange has benefited from a miss hit through fine leg. And so the final score for the Rockets will be a most acceptable 3 for 123. 122 rather. And Ruby Strange will fall just short of her half century. But the 50 partnership came up off that final delivery, and that's a good reward for some good attacking batting by Ruby Strange and Darcy Johnson. The scoreboard will be on your screen. In fact, there it is now. Poor Isabella Savage copped a mully grubber early. Trinity Doyle bowled well and got the wicket to Smithers, albeit with a low one. The bowling was tight. be fair, only 3 wickets in the end. Olivia Steele batted well there as well, but it's essentially a runner ball. The Waveriders had the ascendancy early, but the Rockets did extremely well to be able to post the total that they have. And so from that game, we've already had one tie on this field today. Who'd bet against the second? So we'll be back in about 10 minutes or so to see the run chase from the Southern Rockets. They need 124 to defeat the Gold Coast Waveriders in the Mazda Brisbane Premier League Under-19 women's competition.
chasing. Okay, got it.
So welcome back to Marchant Park, where the Rockets are chasing 124 for victory against the Gold Coast Waveriders. The Waveriders had them pegged down for a long time.
Nice bit of wind there, Will.
Thanks, Jeff.
Good dust.
And then the Rockets were able to break away slowly but surely. On strike for the Gold Coast Waveriders is Abby Toshak. Looks like it might be Bassingthwaite's. Lily Bassingthwaite opening the bowling. She gets outswing. She has an excellent Yorker. This will be a good battle. Michaela Wrigley at the non-strikers end for the Waveriders. 124 the target. Just turned to leg by Toshak. Toshak is off the mark. I'm told that one of the people watching this is Abby Toshak's grandfather, Bill. So Bill, I hope you're enjoying watching your granddaughter and watching the Mazda Brisbane Premier League. Glad to have you with us. I'm sure however well she does today, Abby will do you proud. Bassingthwaite to continue. Foolish delivery, well kept out by Wrigley. So Bassingthwaite quite sharp, not quite express pace, but she definitely gets it through. Kept that one inside the wide line, but had Wrigley swinging outside off. That one is wide and called so. I just need to check check on who the Rockets wicketkeeper is. Number 2. Might be Layla Proctor. No, she's out. Full delivery. There's the Yorker that Bassingthwaite has. Well kept out by Wrigley. Keeper is Cameron Bray, who was brought into the squad when Proctor was one of the Trailblazer players, wasn't able to take part. Full of delivery, well driven by Wrigley, beats the infield, but one of the 2 fielders outside the circle was located at long off, so just a single. Just a steady start from the Waveriders. Again outside off, but not far enough. The first over ends. 3 runs on the board. The Waveriders sitting as a group in front of the Metro Doghouse, which has nothing to do with cricket. It's a side project that happens here at Marchant Park. I think it's to do with dog obedience. But otherwise, Marchant Park in Aspley, the home of the Warehouse Cricket Association. Lots of options for playing cricket if you live in Brisbane. You've got the grade cricket, then sub-districts below that. And the Warehouse Association, there are some clubs in it, some work teams, sometimes just teams of mates. I once played for a Warehouse team called Warnie's Phone Reps. And so it is the home of people who want to play more social cricket. Ruby Orchard, also from the Sunshine Coast, part of their premiership side last year. She'll take up the attack from the clubhouse end. She's a right arm off spinner. Good length. Disrupted the footwork. Michaela Wrigley had her going forward then back as she realised it wasn't quite there for the shot she wanted to play. That one allowed Wrigley to go back. Of course, Wrigley part of that premiership side as well, so teammates on opposing sides in the Brisbane Premier League, that'll happen a lot. And hopefully there'll be some good stories that come from it. Good work from Wrigley. Changed the angle of her shot. Not the worst throw in the world from Isabella Samet either. Copped a brute of a delivery earlier in the day. And possibly has the taste for blood as a reprisal. Toshak played back and watched the ball skid past her. Orchard can do that. Orchard full delivery. Toshak tied herself in a knot. It's a dot ball. I think Toshak was trying to get inside that one and played a leg and suddenly found the ball skidded off the pitch a bit quicker than she expected. Turned that one to leg, got it past the infield. It may just beat the 2 boundary riders on the leg side. Doesn't in the end, except that they fumble it over the boundary. Bit of miscommunication between the 2 outfielders, and it results in a good boundary for Toshak. She placed it well, didn't go for power, ended up getting the result anyway. End of 2 overs. None for 12. It was a fairly good over for Orchard, was, from her perspective, unnecessarily punished at the end. Bassing's weight will continue from the Ellison Road end. This is the Mazda Brisbane Premier League from Marchant Park, Astley, under-19 women's competition. Day 2 of 4 days. As Bassing's weight sends one down the leg side for a wide. So in this tournament, it's 5 points for a win, none for a loss, and 3 for a tie, which came into effect a couple of hours ago. And if you win by a big enough margin, more in a moment, Bassingthwaite gets her line back and it's pushed into the offside. As if your run rate is 1.25 that of your opponent's, you'll get 6 points and they'll get -1. And until the tie in the last game, every other game on this oval had been won with a bonus point. Well down the leg side from Bassingthwaite, possibly struggling with the wind. So there are 10 fields here at Marchant Park. They're all in action, plus 7th Brigade Park over the road. There's 2 fields there and they're both being used as well. For the under 12 boys, under 13 boys, under 15 boys, and the under 19 women's tournament. The under 17 boys are playing, well, yesterday they were at Butterham. Not sure where they are today. Wides have been called, they've run one as well. And in difficult conditions, Bassingthwaite just struggling for line. The live chat is available for anyone watching this match who wants to send a comment through. I do have it open in front of me. My phone does have enough charge on it. Ran out yesterday. She's a better bowler than this Bassingthwaite. She showed that yesterday. So for her it's a case of confidence. Maybe it is visualising what she's doing at the top of her run. Sometimes if you imagine something going perfectly, it's not a magic spell, but it can help. Much better line, played into the offside by Toshak, but with the field up, there's no danger of a run. Continues. Bassingthwaite gets one on line. Gives Toshak one in the midriff. Unfortunately, the consequence of bowling a wide as a consequence of the wind is you have to bowl more balls in the wind. But the wind may just help Bassingthwaite's outswinger as it's going from left to right at the moment. Didn't help that ball enough. It's another leg side wide. Be frustrating for Bassingthwaite. Well clipped off the legs by Toshak, into the infield, but they're very quick. And that's a good single. So along with the sundries in this over, it's been quite productive for the Waveriders. Still 2 balls remaining. And Wrigley looking for something she can punish. Turn to leg, but pretty well directly to Claire Malloy. He wore the gloves yesterday, but has ceded them to Bray. So Bassingthwaite not quite off the pads, but not conceding on that occasion. Beautifully placed. The keeper is there where she stands, obviously. There was a short fine leg as the ball was fielded by a young rocket beyond the boundary. But she had to get that fine wiggly to get the boundary, and she did so. Excellent end to the over for the Waveriders. They moved to 19. The end of 3. Unfortunately, Sundry's dominating the scorecard at the moment. But Toshak and Wrigley are doing everything they need to do. As Orchard will continue from the clubhouse end. The doghouse end, maybe that's a better name for it. Wish I'd thought of that before the last innings here. Orchard full. Turn to leg. And called through for a leg bye. More problems with Bales. As Wrigley does some maintenance work at the batter's end. Well turned. They've spotted that the fielder's back at square leg. Bit of a missed field, not really a chance of a second, but at this stage they know they can pick one up there anytime the ball's available for it. So if Orchard's going to leave a gap there, she's probably trying to push it a little further outside off where the protection is. Good full delivery and a much better line. Gets the dot she was after. Even contest here. 124 required for victory. Again flicked to leg, but timed too well. Well fielded by Bassingthwaite at mid-wicket. Short, pulled, it's beaten the inner fielder, that will be 4. It just had to get past mid-wicket. And it did that with aplomb. Good shot from Toshak. Orchard dropped short. And on that occasion there was no weird bounce, it just shot through. Bounced truly, Toshak helped herself. Orchard experienced enough. Excellent comeback. Overall a good over from Orchard. Maybe needs to think about the field placings a little. But the power surge is now, the power play is now over. Which means the field can be set a little bit more defensively. Doesn't always mean you should, however. It's not a compulsory 5 fielders outside the circle. You can keep the pressure on. So Darcy Johnson, 8 wickets so far in the tournament, is brought into the attack nice and early. There's a third off-spinning option in this side in the form of Lily Hamilton, but I haven't seen her bowl yet. Not sure whether she's injured or just decided not to bowl, but I was lucky enough to see Hamilton's first grade debut last year, where she was very controlled with her off-spin. Turn around the corner. Fielded well. No breakthroughs yet for the Rockets. Everyone available for the Waveriders. Well flighted. Beautifully driven. Only the single forward as it goes out to deep mid-wicket. A good use of the feet from Michaela Wrigley, who's a genuine keeper batter. Both skills very present. And a missed opportunity. It's wide down the leg side. But I think Bray will be disappointed that she didn't turn that into a wicket. Toshak had definitely wandered down the pitch. And Johnson fired that one through, but it was a much more controlled, quicker delivery. She was guilty yesterday of trying to bowl express pace off 2 paces and usually conceded a wide. That was a lot better. Back to flight. Spun past Bray again. It will be a wide. And in fact, it will be 5 wides. Trickles over the boundary. That was unfortunate because it wasn't a bad ball from Johnson. But it just went past the back of Toshak. Bray wasn't able to get across. It's 5 to the total with no balls being expended. Good cut shot. Toshak does well, beat the infield. Coming back for the second, they'll complete it easily despite some good fielding on the boundary. So the Waveriders run chase, very much on schedule. They weren't panicking when they only scored 3 in the first over. They benefited from some sundries, and they found other ways to keep the scoreboard ticking. As Johnson goes around the wicket, without a third in place. Pops up from Toshak, just into a short backward square leg. David Boone might have caught it in his prime, but no one else. Again down the leg side. Johnson just hasn't got to write this over. It's going to be another 5 wides. This is slipping away from the Rockets. A bit of experience needed. So Ruby Strange, speaking with Bray, is going to go have a chat with Johnson. Toshak finds the pressure right off her. Short delivery, whacks it out to backward square leg. Orchard is there. And it's spun away from her. And another boundary. So this is turning into quite a productive over for the Waveriders. Toshak seized on a short ball and benefited from it. So the first over after the surge sees the Waveriders storm into the 40s. None for 43 after 5. And sadly for Johnson, her figures took a bit of a hammering that over. So Ruby Strange has some thinking to do. Standing with the umpire, assessing options. But the Waveriders just took a massive step towards victory in that over. So the bowling change will be made. There's Amy Hunter. The bowls with a bit of pace. She can hurry the batter along. Bray is standing back. Hunter to Wrigley. Well played, just not so much driven as guided down the ground for 1 to long on. But a good start from Hunter. And well kept out. Toshak on strike, she's moved along well. Turns that one behind square, says no. And saw that she hadn't actually got it behind square. It had gone 2 square leg. And made a very quick call. Good batting. I'm about to say batsmanship. We need a different word for that. Batting craft, perhaps. Good batting craft. There we are. Quick from Hunter. Well guided to cover. There's a mix-up. This could be a run out at the keeper's end. And Bray drops the ball. The opportunity for the Rockets not taken on that occasion. If you're in the fielding side, the only thing you can think at this point is create another one. Do whatever you need to do. Hunter has started well, very controlled bowling. Just about to hit 4 o'clock here in Brisbane. Another York, she's bowling full and straight. This is impressive from Hunter. That ball went straight to her captain, Ruby Strange, at cover. The mid-off is inside the circle, the long on is outside of it, deep cover, third. Short ball, turn round the corner from Toshak. There is a boundary rider out there who didn't get down to the ball. Didn't cover the ball at all, unfortunately. And that's a boundary. Just straying onto leg stump for the first time, Amy Hunter. Randall conceding the boundary. More bail problems, but overall they've been fairly well behaved. You can of course get heavyweight bails for these conditions. Extra value when you knock them off. Short and wide, but not wide enough, despite Toshak's protestations. So another productive over despite Hunter's best efforts. 48. It's an excellent opening partnership for the Waveriders. Toshak and Wrigley more than doing their job. Overs gone, 48 already on the board. They needed just over 6 and over at the start of the innings. They've been going at 8. Ruby Strange brings herself into the attack. Looking to tie things down. The runs have been coming far too easily. And again, probably a little bit too much looking for the wide from the Waveriders batters rather than just doing the batting and letting the umpire do his job. Ruby Strange from the Ellison Road end. Foolish delivery, it'll just be pushed out to the boundary rider at deep mid-wicket. Comfortable single. No real pressure on the field or the batter. It would be an appropriate end to the day if the winning wicket or the winning runs were hit and then this entire marquee collapsed. This time there is a cut shot from Toshak, plays the ball even though it's wide, gets a single for it. Which brings the 50 partnership up.
Yep.
Just the 40 deliveries involved, because it helps when you get 10 runs off no deliveries in the case of 5 wides. But Toshak and Wrigley have done pretty much everything they need to do. Much better ball from Strange. Not that she's bowled badly, but but Wrigley showed it due respect. It's a lovely drive. Again, it will just be one to the boundary rider. But Wrigley progressing nicely. End of the over. The other game's happening right now over on field 5. The Power, the Western Power, who just had the tie here up against the table-topping Coastal Marlins. And then on field 6, the Northern Kings up against the Darling Dingoes, who have a tie but no wins. So they'll be looking to open their account against the Kings. The Waveriders definitely on top in the run chase at the moment. The Rockets need wickets. And just as in the last match, where every time the Power threatened to break away with the run chase, the Dingoes could force a wicket. The Rockets probably need a couple in a hurry here. There's Hunter. Amy Hunter will bowl with a gale behind her. Beats the outside edge. Haven't seen that much in this innings, but Hunter just bowled it back of the length and it whizzed past the outside edge.
We're going to leave kind of stuff. I'll go get a paper towel.
The table doesn't matter, scoring's more important. Don't worry about the table. I shot okay. Apologies for that. One of the scorers just had his drink blown over. We think it's mostly still in Aspley. It's turned into the leg side. Hunter bowled well, but not much you can do to prevent that single from Wrigley. Hunter keeps that one inside the wide line. Good bowling from Hunter. It's been an impressive spell. Without making a brief appearance on camera as we tried to get some debris from going onto the field. It's about Amy Hunter at the moment, keeping it tight against Toshak, and that has been called wide. As Hunter just lost control of it. You can see the left shoulder dip in her delivery stride, maybe going for a little bit too much pace. Didn't quite come out the way she meant it. Thank you very much for your company, your understanding, your patience, as we do our best to bring you the Brisbane Premier League action today. Not sure if there was any bat on that. They'll get a single just down the fine leg, and it has been called as a run. So Toshak doing enough. Her score advances. Neither batter into the 20s yet. And given that it's a 50 partnership, that gives you an idea of the influence of sundries in this innings. Big swing from Wrigley. We'll end up getting, I think, a bye. It's not over yet, but it's finally backed up, and yet it is called a bye. So Hunter trying her darndest. As the umpire makes his way from the field, we'll find out the reason in a moment. And you possibly heard in the microphone, there is so much debris blowing onto the ground. There's not really a lot of rubbish left around the place, but on occasion it's even blowing out of the bins. But good on the umpire for doing the right thing, if you're old enough to remember that campaign. And keeping the field clear for the players. So the Waveriders well on track. This run chase against the Rockets. The Rockets unable to get a breakthrough so far. None for 55. Strange to continue. Hit into the outfield, should just be one. It is fielded cleanly. And Wrigley, for about the third or fourth time, has taken a single to that long mid-wicket boundary. The Peter Burge Oval, on which they'll be playing tomorrow, is very large, but I dare say there'll be boundary markers brought in a fair way. And somehow that came off the leading edge. In fact, that may have been bowled.
It's come off the pad.
I didn't see a signal. Was it LBW or bowled?
Yeah, no, she's given up.
It's definitely been given out. I thought I saw the keeper pointing to the stumps. So finally a breakthrough. Not happy, as batters never are. But the first wicket is down. I think she just said she's been given LBW as she shrugged her shoulders on the way off. But either way, she's out. She definitely said LBW on the way off. Melissa Lewis isn't sure, but Toshak is not happy. Anyway, she's out. She's been replaced by Julia Kavanagh, the captain of the Gold Coast Waveriders. Yeah, I put it down as LBW. So Kavanagh will be on strike. It's Ruby Strange who makes the breakthrough. So it will now be captain bowling the captain. Strange from the University of Queensland. Kavanagh from Sandgate Redcliffe. The Rockets will hope that's the start of something bigger. The Waveriders will look to continue as they have progressed. Good footwork, and the power in the shot as a result of the footwork results in a single. The overthrow's cut off. With some good backing up. So Wrigley on strike. Wide delivery, and called so. So the Waveriders are probably now in a position where they can start thinking about a bonus point. To do so, they need to knock the runs off by the end of the 16th over. Turn to leg. The thought of a single was snuffed out immediately by Kavanagh, who recognised that Bray was there far too quickly. Foolish delivery. Kavanagh timed it fairly well, but wasn't able to get past Isabel Goffridge at mid-wicket. Didn't see Goffridge with the bat today. She was one of the batters that the Rockets had in hand if they'd lost a couple of wickets. She has batted higher at different stages of this series. Jamming down on it there, Wrigley. Wanted a single. Kavanagh said no. At the end of a wicket taking over for Ruby Strange, picking up the wicket of Toshak, LBW. Slightly confusing circumstances, but all was resolved. There wasn't much of an appeal, but it's a bit of a myth that a quiet appeal means not out. There was one given yesterday when we were behind the wicket. Forgive me, I forget which game it was. When it was quite clearly out, and there was half an appeal given. But if the off-spin attack's going to continue from the near end, the clubhouse end, the Metro Doghouse end, with Lily Hamilton. First grade debut back in January. And a very controlled off-spinner. bowling to Julia Kavanagh. Found that low bouncing spot on the pitch as well. I think Kavanagh should be too aggrieved. Her team benefited from it as well. Down the ground for an easy single. Fielded by Goffridge. So 1 for 59. Again, the Rockets miss an opportunity through the keeper's fumble. So Wrigley survives. Apologies for the interruption. So Hamilton bowling with great control from this near end. That one's a bit wide, but well cut. And a good throw. And unfortunately, it looks like Bray's lost a bit of confidence. I hope Strange is able to get in her ear and just remind her that she can play. This is a skill she has. Full toss from Hamilton, but results in a dot as it's hit directly to the mid-wicket inner ring fielder. So a good start from Hamilton. Slowed the run rate down considerably. There's Wrigley and Kavanagh. Just make sure that the momentum won't be taken out of this Waveriders run chase. So they're one run short of being halfway to the target. Strange will continue from the Ellison Road end. This is not cyclone season, I can assure you of that. Not even monsoon season. Full delivery, that'll be 4. Kavanagh got onto it quickly. Got enough bat on it to A, keep it down, and B, put it behind square leg. Nothing wrong with the field placing, but everything right with the shot placement from Julia Kavanagh. Total 265. So they now are past halfway. 124 required. Well on track. 9 wickets still in the hutch. Another full delivery. Strange. Just overstretching at the moment. There was a misfield at mid-wicket by Goffridge, but because her body hit the ground, it disguised the fact that the ball had gone past her quite cleverly. I'm sure it was deliberate, and if it wasn't, she can claim it. Strange again, looking to hit the deck. Almost got a Yorker that time. Squeezed out, excellent fielding at square leg. Goffridge has been energetic square of the wicket. And on that occasion, snuffed out any thought of a second run. Kavanagh returns to the strike after that single from Wrigley. Short delivery, and even though Kavanagh mistimed it, maybe in the final overs they would take a single to Hamilton in that situation, but with plenty of overs to go and the run chase on track, no point doing anything silly. Again, a full toss. I think she's trying for Yorkers, Strange, and they're just not falling for her. And so a fairly easy single into the deep. Got a Yorker that time, but it was well played. And Wrigley takes a single. Well fielded at mid-off by Hamilton, who now will receive the ball back so she can continue the attack from the Ellison Road end. I beg your pardon, from the clubhouse end. It's 1 for 69. 11 overs gone. The run rate required is exactly a run a ball, so singles will win it for them. So we'll be interested to see if Ruby Strange keeps everyone on the outer circle and allows the singles, or whether she just brings one or two fielders in to put a little bit of doubt into the Waveriders running between wickets. That was an attempted leg glance, which came off the leading edge and went out to cover. And I wonder whether Hamilton bowled an accidental outswinger because the wind picked it up. Outside off, respected delivery, but they do get the single because mid-off was back a long way. Total to 70. Lofted behind point, but there'll be more than one here. Big chase for the fielder at point. They've got a couple, so they're back to a runner ball this over. Stumping. Cameron Bray needed that. She's made a few fumbles, but Lily Hamilton drew Wrigley out of the crease. Drew Kavanagh out of the crease, beg your pardon. Kavanagh took the base, it went through to Bray, and with all the confidence in the world affected the stumping like a seasoned professional. Beautiful bowling from Lily Hamilton. Excellent keeping from Bray. And the second wicket is down. As Grace Collins makes her way to the pitch at number 4. So the captain goes, but plenty of experience in the crease in the form of Wrigley and Collins. Lily Hamilton. I've been asking for her to come to the bowling crease. Thank you, Ruby. I appreciate it. So on the far field, one of the Kings team celebrates a wicket. Collins making a confident start. Turning the ball to leg, no run, but meeting it with the full face. Deep cover in place, deep square leg. And Hamilton again went for the catch shot. Superb over for Lily Hamilton. And just giving the Rockets a sniff. Waveriders still very much in control. They might need to do a bit of hitting towards the end of the innings, but they've got the batters to do it. And Cameron Bray will be feeling a whole lot better about herself. 2 for 72. 12 overs gone. And I must apologise, I've been saying that 124 were needed to win. The total by the Rockets was actually 122, so it's 123 needed to win. Strange will continue. And again, looking to keep it full and straight. Hasn't quite hit the Yorker. And on that occasion was wide as well. But working hard, Ruby Strange. That was more the length she was after, and genuinely beat Wrigley. Hitting the length again. So Strange has found it. And Wrigley, not for the first time this innings, gets the one to deep mid-wicket. So Collins on strike. The field has remained the same. There's the usual inner ring. In fact, the deep square leg has been brought in. Still a deep cover. Point is a long way back. Can't quite see whether it's in or out of the circle. Third is deep. There's a deep cover. On the pad, but down the leg side. Fine leg is inside the circle, as is square leg. Mid-wicket, mid-on. No one back straight. I beg your pardon, there is a deep long on, deep mid-off. Good length from Strange. Couldn't field off her own bowling, but thankfully had Wrigley there to help her out. Wrigley says, "You're welcome?" ? Just every now and then, Strange strives for a little extra pace. She drops that left shoulder and pushes the ball out wide. Slower delivery and a good length. Collins let it go. It is earlier in innings. The run rate required still around that runner ball mark. Hasn't gone much beyond it. Now it's a full toss. And that was a drop catch. That was not a no ball. It was just below the waist. There's a call of no ball from beyond the boundary, but he's not wearing black. He's not a qualified umpire. And even if he was, he's not officiating in this game. So the catch is dropped at mid-on. And the over completed by Ruby Strange. So a let-off for the Waveriders. But a bit of control from the Rockets bowlers in the last 2 overs means that the run rate required, they're now 48 off 42. Still well within reach, particularly with 8 wickets in hand, as Hamilton continues. Dropped short for the first time. The throw goes to the bowler's end. Well intercepted by Hamilton, although there was backup. And so Collins was able to scamper a single, having had a life in the previous over. Wrigley on strike now. Went for a swat and didn't quite miss. Certainly didn't connect with any conviction. I think he might get that as well. Because it's definitely Wrigley on strike now. Did you get the single off the drop catch? So one to Wrigley to the boundary. Throw misses the keeper, but he's backed up well. 2 runs off this over. Lily Hamilton looks to keep that control. She's done a good job for the Rockets. Brilliant. Brilliant. Held the length back. Collins had propped onto the front foot. And in the end played the wrong line. And so Lily Hamilton is struck. And little bit by little bit, the Rockets are getting themselves back into this contest. It's Trinity Doyle striding to the crease. Bowled an excellent spell before, 1 for 15 from her 4 overs. Probably the pick of the Waveriders bowlers. Bowled them all in one spell from this near end. So Doyle will go to the striker's end. Wrigley's still there. She's been the constant of this Waveriders innings. It's now 3 wickets down. Doyle, a left-hander, of course. I think these two faced off in the semi-final of the Catherine Raymond Shield last year. Hamilton for Wests and Doyle for Ipswich. Quick delivery from Hamilton, but the direction was off and Doyle has turned it for 4. Hamilton trying something different first up. The idea may have been okay, but on this occasion the execution not so. So a big relief for the Waveriders. They were falling behind the required run rate a little. That boundary will help them enormously. Doyle into the offside, kind of squeezed down on the ball a little. And it rolled with topspin out to cover. So a wicket taking over for Hamilton. The marquee threatens to go away again, but as long as we can see and enjoy the cricket, the marquee is merely a prop. It's 4:30 in Brisbane. Shadows are lengthening. Sunset won't be for an hour or so. There's Ruby Orchard, who began her bowling in this match from the near end, will now take up the attack from Ellison Road. 41 required from 36. I'm not confident to say who's in front. The Rockets slightly ahead in terms of the balls per run ratio, but the Waveriders with 7 wickets in hand. A full toss is swatted to leg. And unfortunately it has gone for 4 as the fielder just didn't get down to it. Bassingthwaite with the error. So Orchard concedes 4 off the first delivery. We're down to 37 off 35. Much better delivery from Orchard. It's still driven down the long on, but the fielding is sure, and it will just be the single. We have a lineup for you tomorrow, again out at Peter Burge Oval. We begin today with the Coastal Marlins against the Moreton Magic. At 11 o'clock, the Bayside Pirates against the Moreton Magic. Then at 2 o'clock, the Gold Coast Waveriders again against the Western Power. By then, you will have seen every team on the live stream at least 2 times. Good delivery. The LBW appeal is ambitious. That would have cleared not only the stumps, but probably a small animal sitting on top of them. A good tight bowling from Orchard against Doyle. Spinning the ball away from her, of course. Doyle came out to meet it, needed to get bat on it and did. The single is there. So Doyle turning the strike over. The field goes back on the opposite side of the field for the right-hander. It's now back on this side and up on the far side. But there is still a deep cover in place. Well down leg side from Orchard. Trying to float it up, didn't quite go in the direction she wanted. Yes, the ring of 3 on the boundary on the leg side. So backward square, mid-wicket, long on. A deep long off, and a deep cover. Past the keeper, it's called wide. That will help the Waveriders cause no end. So 2 wides added to the total. Ruby Orchard just not quite with the control she wants. The fielders go in on the near side. Flows it up to Doyle and gets the desired result with a dot. And a tight day's cricket on this field. Doyle skies it, it's into the gap, over the fielder at mid-wicket, 4 runs. That was a calculated risk from Trinity Doyle, and it worked out perfectly. She got the half volley from Orchard, moved into the right position to get underneath it, knew where the gap was, and found it superbly. An excellent over for the Waveriders, as they in effect move in front in the chase, particularly with 7 wickets in hand. 3 for 95. So 28 runs to win.
Yep.
30 balls remaining and 7 wickets in hand. So for what it's worth, they need to score all 28 this over to get the bonus point. And look, stranger things have happened. Hamilton. It's a flatter delivery, turned to backward square leg. Some excellent fielding, I think, from Strange on the leg side. She's captained this team with pride, Ruby Strange. In fact, that was Amy Hunter, apologies. She's played with pride as well. The pride point stands, whoever it was who fielded the ball, but it was Amy Hunter. So Hamilton around the wicket to Doyle. I'll spin at both ends as the fine leg goes around to deep third. Doyle saw that pitched up and played it down the ground. Plenty of deep fielders. They're fairly well drilled, the Rockets fielders, as to where they need to go for the left and right hander. Wrigley on strike. She's been the rock of this innings. Flatter from Hamilton and well outside off. It's amazing that the total is 3 for 98. Wrigley's been there the whole time. She hasn't batted slowly, but that run takes her merely to 26. In many ways, it's a bizarre looking scorecard, but Wrigley's definitely done her job. That ball surprised Doyle, but she gets the 100 up. And the Gold Coast Waveriders hit triple figures. So it's all softly for the Waveriders at the moment. 23 runs to get, and Hamilton just not quite able to apply the brakes so far this over. Went quicker again, bowling a lot more darts this over, and I think that might be playing into the Waveriders' hands. They know what they're getting, unless she's setting them up for a surprise here. So Trinity Doyle, plenty of fielders in the deep. There's one just to the left of camera on the boundary. And the full toss was quick, and Doyle unable to put it away. So it's 3 for 101. With 4 overs remaining, 22 runs required. And you'd suspect it's the Waveriders to lose from here. Wrigley is set. You suspect she could explode at any time. Johnson returns to the field. She's been off for a while. Hamilton leaves the field. Bowled well for a time. And Darcy Johnson returns not only to the field but to the bowling crease. So Johnson's off spin yielded 8 wickets so far, nothing today. Nothing in this match. So Johnson, she's got plenty of variations. The only question is control over those variations. Her control over her stock ball is excellent. So when she tries to mix it up, things can go awry. Found the length straight away. Wrigley swats it, and it will just be a single. But singles will do for the Waveriders. 21 off 23. The usual pattern continues. I don't think we've had the power surge yet either, so the Waveriders have that up their sleeve. Doyle on strike. Generally speaking, the fielders go back, although deep point's been pushed back. It's a full toss, 4 runs. Johnson just gave that too much air, possibly slipped off the hand. Doyle saw the full toss, knew the gap was behind square on leg side, connected ball and gap. 17 required off 22. The wind is actually quite chilly now, the shadows are getting longer, the temperature has dropped. The Waveriders look to body surf to victory. But not over. Plenty of pride in this Rockets outfit. Johnson knows how to get a wicket, knows how to rattle the timber. Tries a quicker one against Doyle. Didn't bounce much. Doyle was awake to it. Happy to play out the dot, which he'd earned the right to do with the boundary off the last ball. Big whack. Dropped. Doyle hit it more or less down the throat of the fielder, a deep mid-on. And it has been put down. And that has hurt the Rockets today. Ruby Orchard on that occasion, just not able to get the hands around it. So wicket number 9 for Johnson goes begging. Wrigley on strike. And 16 required off 20. Johnson. Quicker ball to Wrigley. Played it late and surely. Singled a bit off. Strange, there's a little bit of tension in this game, and yet it's actually quite calm and slow on the field. 15 required off 19. And I think Doyle may have got an outside edge to that. It's gone past Bray. And ends up being fielded at third by Amy Hunter. So Doyle with, in effect, a couple of lives this over. 14 required off 3 overs. And the power surge still to come. So Wrigley and Doyle, well, they either choose to take it this over or it just happens in the following over. It is a compulsory part. Oh, sorry, just been asked the question. Does the power surge need to be taken? And yes, if you haven't taken it by the 18th over, it merely kicks in. So Ruby Strange taking time over her field. Amy Hunter back into the attack. Third has gone back. And In fact, the field's come in anyway. I was deep square leg. There's a deep third. Fine legs back a fairway. The left-hander on strike, but can't afford to have too many fielders back at this stage. Hunter. Excellent ball to Doyle. Doyle had to respect it. Did so. 14 required off 17. In a strange run chase. Waveriders always in control and yet never taking it. Ball was straight. They've run a leg by. Doyle manages to get herself off strike. Hunter's generally good at adjusting from left to right-hander. And the Rockets, after conceding a fair few sundries early, have been able to bring that under control again. Strange being quite deliberate with her field. The number 4 at cover you can just see on the left of your screen. Short delivery, well turned by Wrigley. It'll just be the single. Although the throw's a little wild. Hits the keeper in the shins and then rebounds to mid-wicket. $12 required. Wrigley's been there since the start. Looked very sure. Don't think she's given a chance. If she has, it wouldn't be many. On this occasion, Strange hasn't adjusted her line. Runs required down to 11, still 15 balls remaining. The Waveriders being very calm. They do have the power surge, which will kick in at the end of this over and allow them to hit over the top. Hunter got some good bounce on that delivery, just the single. Doyle was very calm. 10 required, and often at this stage of the game, some wag from the boundary will call out 6 and 4, but I don't think that's how the Waveriders are thinking. At least not this over. A lot will depend on how Strange sets her field for presumably Johnson at the other end. The Rockets coach just taking a walk towards the boundary. That's about as much extravagance as we've seen from Wrigley today. The head wasn't really over the ball on that occasion, and Hunter gets a dot. Melissa Lewis, the Waveriders coach, calling encouragement. And that hit the dead spot. Hunter nearly got herself a little late wicket there, which just might have thrown. Trying to avoid cat among pigeons, but you get the idea. 10 runs required off 2 overs. Johnson has been taken off by the look of it. Important bowling changes on Ruby Orchard. Started well, not so good in her most recent over. But form is temporary, class is permanent, and Orchard has shown that she can perform under pressure. Right at the stumps now. It's possible I may have been wrong about the surge because there are 3 fielders deep on the offside for Orchard. Doyle down the pitch will just take the easy single out to deep long off. Okay, I must confess I've missed a trick there. I'm not quite sure what's going on. But the power surge is not in effect. 9 required. Wrigley down the wicket, and we'll take an easy single to deep mid-wicket. Two runs off this over. We're trying to work out how we've been able to get through an innings without a power surge. It's in the air from Doyle. And again a catch is put down. Unfortunately that's really hurt. The run out chance is still on though. And Bray fumbled. And I dare say that Rockets coach Ben Maddox knows precisely what he needs to work on with this side. So 2 off that delivery, so 6 off 9. It's not been a normal looking run chase. Doyle plays forward, the field is all back, runs a nice safe single, 5 off 8. It's been very controlled. For young players, the Waveriders have approached this chase extremely intelligently. Wrigley down the ground, hits to the outfield, it's straight to the fielder. But that's single, and the throw's a bit wild, but it has been backed up. Four off 7, so technically it can be 1 in 1 shot, but the Waveriders, in the words of Wilfred Rhodes, will get them in singles. And Doyle does the same again. That gap's not been plugged, and she helps herself to a single. 3 required in the final over. So it's going to be a last over victory, which suggests a very close match, and it's certainly not been a walkover, but you would suggest that the Waveriders have been in control of this one for a long time. So the bowl, the final oval, the final over, try to pull this one out of the fire, will be Amy Hunter. And I guess if anyone on the side was capable of defending 3 runs in the final over, Amy Hunter's probably the go-to in this side. Very reliable pace bowler, can hit her lengths, bowling to Doyle. It's not only down leg side, it's towards the boundary. They've run 1 and scores a level. So it's gone from 3 off 6 to 1 off 6. And to be fair, another Sundry would win this. The marquee is only required for 1 more delivery, or at least 1 more run. Hunter to Wrigley. Wrigley dabs into the offside. That's the winning run. The throw is errant. Michaela Wrigley's been there from the start. She's anchored this chase. Trinity Doyle, after a superb bowling performance, was there at the end. The partnership was magnificent. It was such a controlled run chase from the Waveriders, and the Rockets have lost in the last over. So in the end, a 7-wicket victory to the Gold Coast Waveriders. The full scorecard will come up on your screen shortly, but it will show that there were almost no individual stars for the Gold Coast Waveriders today. In fact, very few wickets fell in the whole match, only about 7. But it's but it was a controlled performance from the Waveriders. They'll get the 5 points from this match. The Rockets will need a good day tomorrow to have a chance of making the finals. But Wrigley finishes on 33, Doyle on 23. Hunter very contained. She ended up with none for 14 off in her 4th over. thank you very much for joining us today through a tricky day too, a blustery day too, a very windy day here at the Brisbane Premier League. Please go to the website, brisbanepremierleague.com, and download the BPL app. Also look up Brisbane Premier League on MyCricket if you're familiar with the MyCricket website. One more day of round-robin action. Each side has 2 matches to play. There'll be one team that each team doesn't play. That varies for each team, obviously. And then the top 4 teams will go into knockout finals on Thursday. But we say goodbye to Marchant Park at Aspley and thank the Warehouse Cricket Association for helping out the Brisbane Premier League this week. It's been wonderful support from them. Tomorrow we go to the Redlands Cricket Club at Wellington Point. 8 o'clock the action begins. You will see for the first time tomorrow the Moreton Magic. They'll be up first against the Coastal Marlins at 8 o'clock. At 11 o'clock the Bayside Pirates against the Moreton Magic. And then at 2 o'clock you'll see the Gold Coast Waveriders again up against the Western Power. It's been a thrilling day. We saw a tie, we've seen a narrow victory, we've seen outstanding performances, and you can find out what's been happening on the other fields through the website and the app. My name's Daniel Viles. Thank you so much for your company today. It's been a pleasure to help you enjoy the cricket. Make sure it gets shown to you. We'll see you tomorrow from Peter Burge Oval and Wellington Point. Bye for now.
I don't know.